Under the night sky, the names carved on the scales of the Black Dragon, which was as tall as a 20-story building, were extremely clear. And at this moment, the close to 100 students and some war god teachers under the gigantic Black Dragon statue all stared in shock at the name. Number 68 Luo Feng 570403. Everyone knew that it was already 11:20 p.m., very close to the final deadline of 12 p.m. The students who had gone out to hunt had already returned. The possibility of the rankings changing was very, very small. In other words, Luo Feng's rank was 68 in April, which was pretty much set in stone. This is getting out of hand. Where did this Luo Feng come from? My god. Even the calmest person would be shocked by this ranking. Just being ranked 68th was nothing, but to be ranked 68th in the first month after joining the training camp was a completely different story. This was even more valuable than being ranked first by an old cadet who had been training for 4 or 5 years. How is this possible? Number 68. Candace's deep eyes were filled with disbelief. He did not want to believe it either. Candace, William said softly. Shit. Candace said quietly, from today onwards don't mess with this Luo Feng. Yes. William nodded. What dogs hit luck? Candace cursed. He was not happy that the Huaxia kid whom he didn't like, was able to get the 68th place in the first month. But no matter how unhappy he was. Logic told Candace that his past conflict with Luo Feng was just a matter of pride, not some life and death grudge. I'll just swallow my anger and pretend that Luo Feng doesn't exist in the future. I won't fight with Luo Feng anymore. This Luo Feng is going to strike it rich. He must have struck it rich. A chubby yellow-skinned youth exclaimed, in the history of our training camp, there have only been 5 people who charged into the top 100 in the first month. The most recent was 8 years ago. And this time, Luo Feng not only charged into the top 100, but he's 68th. 98th and 68th are both in the top 100, but the meaning is completely different. The 68th place was definitely much stronger than the 98th place. Everyone knew. Earth's powerful countries and organizations all value talents. It would be weird if they didn't value a talent like Luo Feng. Luo Feng's rank 68 is even more valuable than this time's rank 1. What's next? In a residential building 3 kilometers away. F***CK. The sturdy man with short dyed blonde hair widened his eyes as he stared at the screen on the wall of the room. He stared hard at the name Luo Feng, at number 68, his eyes wide open. As the leader of the intelligence team here, he knew the information of these students like the back of his hand. He was very clear. Luo Feng's name appearing at rank 68, what did it mean? Quick, connect to the boss. The burly man's expression was ferocious. Captain, it's not even midnight yet. A woman in slightly revealing clothing giggled. Mother****, hurry up and connect to the boss. Now. The burly man's eyes revealed a murderous glint. Only then did the woman, who had been giggling, realize the seriousness of the situation. She immediately contacted her boss. Shit. This genius is actually from China. Contact the general, I want to talk to him immediately. 68th. He's only 19 years old and he came from an ordinary family. He didn't receive any special martial arts training when he was young. This Luo Feng is insane, hurry contact the leader. A middle-aged Chinese man ordered. At this moment in Hongning headquarters city, various powerful countries' military organizations and special administrative organizations, some families, financial groups, and even mercenaries found the newest ranking on the elite training camp's Black Dragon Leaderboard. As qualified intelligence personnel, they immediately reported it to the headquarters. Being ranked in the top 100 is already an absolute genius. And being ranked 68 is even more impressive. And he's only 19 years old. Keep in mind that for super powerful organizations like the 5 great countries and the 2 great dojo, even though a fighter's body fitness level increases quickly is shocking, it's not enough for them to risk their lives to get their hands on him. After all, in terms of body fitness level, there are things like dragon blood and things like special items that aren't. All of which can strengthen the body. In short, one's body fitness level can be improved by spending a huge amount of money. However, one's technique, fist strength, and blade technique can't be forced. These can only be improved through battle after battle, training after training, experience and comprehension. In the words of the elite training camp, it's battle ability amplifier. 1 part of strength can bring out 10 parts of battle ability, or even 100 parts of battle ability. This is true skill. Luo Feng's battle ability amplifier is clearly very high. Jiangnan headquarters city main sector. In Jiangnan University's female dormitory, room 602 is Su Xian's dormitory. This dormitory has a public living room and 4 small rooms. Every girl lives in a small room. A dormitory like this is already considered high class in Jiangnan University's dormitory area. Every year you have to pay an extremely high fee. Third sister, actually, I think young Master Wang is pretty good. He's pretty devoted to you, said a mixed girl with long hair. She was sleepily lying on the sofa while holding a steaming hot cup of coffee as she laughed. Second sister, Su Xian likes that Luo Feng. You don't have to be that young Master Wang's lobbyist, said a mixed girl with long hair. Right now these 4 girls including Su Xian were gossiping. Don't say any more, Su Xian slightly frowned. Su Xian was clearly unhappy. The other 3 girls laughed and didn't say anything else. To be able to live in this dormitory, one's family background isn't normal. However, in comparison, Su Xian's family is the most impressive. Okay. Su Xian was holding an economics book in her hand. She was casually flipping through it, but her attention wasn't on the book. Su Xian was annoyed. She was annoyed because she's about the right age to get married. In this day and age, many girls get married in university. Plus, Su Xian is the daughter of the Su family and has a pretty high status. This caused many people to chase after Su Xian. Quite a few of them are related to the Su family. Even though Su Xian's attitude is tough, there are still a lot of troubles. Her family's attitude has always been ambiguous. Her phone rang. Bro's calling? Su Xian held her phone suspiciously and entered her room. After closing the door, she picked up the call. Su Gang's face appeared on the phone screen. Bro, what's up? Asked Su Xian. Good news, very good news. Su Gang's face was full of smiles on the phone screen. Hey my sister, your eyes aren't normal. This Luo Feng did something really big this time. Su Xian was confused. What big thing? Oh, you're talking about entering the top 100 of the elite training camp? It's not just the top 100, it's number 68. Su Gang was extremely shocked. This news spread like a whirlwind. Which family in the HR Alliance doesn't know about it? I bet the 5 great countries and headquarter cities all know about it. At least at this moment, most of the organizations in the world are talking about Luo Feng. Su Xian didn't hear the rest of her brother's words. She only knew one thing. Luo Feng is number 68. Su Xian isn't a simple girl. She knows a lot, so she knows what this title means. Sister, the entire family really approves of you and Luo Feng. Not just mom and dad, but even grandpa and the rest of the generation completely approve of you and Luo Feng. Su Gang laughed as he said. The ones who truly make the decisions in the Su family are naturally the elders of Su Xian's grandfather's generation. After hearing this, Su Xian didn't know whether to laugh or curse. This is the family. Oh, I understand, nodded Su Xian. Damn, aren't you excited at all? Laughed Su Gang. Hee, Su Xian purposefully squeezed out a smile. Satisfied now, bro? The call quickly ended. Su Xian's smile widened. Now there's no more trouble. Since the family completely approves of her and Luo Feng, then Su Xian doesn't care about those young masters. Without the influence of the family, Su Xian wouldn't care about those people. The sky is clear after the rain. Okay. Su Xian sat in front of her laptop and connected to Luo Feng. Hongning Headquarter City, Elite Training Camp. Luo Feng was like a stray dog. After he finished talking to Zhao Ruo and Shi Jiang, he immediately rushed into his own building. My god, I caused such a huge commotion when I reached number 68? Luo Feng thought back to when he walked out of the training room, especially when he walked out of the 9 grand floors. He was completely surrounded by a large group of people from the training camp. More accurately, they all came to congratulate him. Quite a few students came to send invitations on behalf of their factions. Invitations after invitations. The treatment they received was so good that it made people's hearts tremble. Almost every family's treatment had over 10 billion in funds every year. This is definitely a sky-high price for an advanced level war god. And right now, Luo Feng is even more popular than an advanced level war god. The Tower of Trials is the same. 1 hour on time. When the time is up, I'll be kicked out of the virtual space. Luo Feng was a bit regretful. If I could stay in there for a while longer, then hee. Actually, Luo Feng's harvest from the virtual space Tower of Trials this time was extremely huge. The second floor of the trial tower was very difficult. Originally, Luo Feng had no hope of passing the second level's B stage. In just 3 short minutes he was killed 3 times in the B stage. However, on the 4th time, Luo Feng actually once again entered the perfect level of technique state. In that state, Luo Feng's technique combined with his explosive speed and attack power. Unknowingly, he had actually directly passed stage B. At this time, Luo Feng's ranking jumped from 98th to 82nd. He jumped 16 places. However, it was stage C again. At the final moment of the 1 hour, when there was still half a minute left, the electronic voice actually reminded Luo Feng that there were 30 seconds left. With just this reminder, Luo Feng was distracted. Poochie. Death. However, he could not blame the virtual space for reminding him. The main reason was that stage C was too difficult. The slightest distraction would result in death and failure. However, Luo Feng still obtained a Tower of Trials rank of 2.9. Clearly, Luo Feng had already completed stage C and was pretty close to success. At this time, Luo Feng's ranking jumped from 82nd to 68th. The perfect level body movement realm has been maintained for more than 40 minutes at stage B and stage C. This perfect level, I should be considered to have stepped into this level. Luo Feng was overjoyed. When his technique increased by 1 level, his true battle strength definitely increased by a few times. Otherwise, how could he easily pass stage B and almost pass stage C? Beep beep. A sound came from the laptop. It was a video chat request. Luo Feng walked over and couldn't help but to let out a smile. Su Xian's? He immediately clicked, accept. A video swiftly appeared on the computer screen. In the video was Su Xian. At midnight, Luo Feng was chatting with Su Xian. At this moment, his laptop received the Black Dragon ranking's final ranking. Luo Feng glanced at it and saw that his rank was 68. Clearly, the ranking didn't change much in the last 40 minutes. Luo Feng was happy tonight. However, Candace returned to his place with a terrible expression. Candace's tower, study room. After showering, Candace sat in front of his laptop. His computer already received 2 video chat requests. Candace glanced at them. One was from the Paulinus family's headquarters, and the other was from his aunt, Vanina and Paulinus, who currently lives in China. He clicked, accept, his aunt's chat request. Aunt, Candace laughed as he yelled. Candace, my baby, long time no see, said Vanina passionately. The relationship between Candace and his aunt was very good. Because his father and mother didn't get along when he was young, his parents quickly divorced, and Candace had been raised by Vanina since he was young. To Candace, Vanina was both his aunt and mother. The reason why he was so strong was also because of his aunt's intentional guidance and education. Baby, you don't seem to be in a good mood, said Vanina. Yeah, a bit, nodded Candace. The family isn't happy with you because of Luo Feng, laughed Vanina. Candace couldn't help but to curse. I knew those old geezers would find trouble with me. At the end of last month, the family told me to invite Luo Feng. Yes, I rejected that suggestion. But even if I showed up, I wouldn't have succeeded. That Luo Feng rejected them long ago. At the end of March, Luo Feng joined the training camp. One of the core families of the HR Alliance, the Paulinus family, wanted to invite Luo Feng. However, Candace and William had some conflicts with Luo Feng, so why would Candace invite him? Some people in the family are trying to find fault with you, said Vanina carelessly. Don't mind it too much. My brothers are all eyeing my position. They want me to make a huge mistake and take away my position as the #1 successor, sneered Candace. Powerful families like the Paulinus family have cruel internal conflicts. Baby, don't worry. My aunt will definitely support you. Vanina smiled. And within the clan there are many who support you as well. You're in the world's best training camp and you're performing well. Don't worry, baby, after you graduate from the training camp, you'll have more experience and you'll naturally be able to take over the family. Yes. Candace nodded. Your ranking is pretty good this time. Keep working and try to get into the top 30, encouraged Vanina. I will, nodded Candace. His aunt and uncle could be considered Candace's staunch supporters. Auntie, there's something I need your help with. Vanina's expression was a little ugly. Luo, sighed Vanina. Vanina sighed and said, you also know that your brother Wei was killed. Yes. Candace knew about it. I want you to pay attention to this Luo Feng when you're in the training camp. If you discover that this Luo Feng might be a spirit reader, you must tell me immediately. That's why she asked Candace for help. Spirit reader? Candace was shocked. Aunt, you suspect Luo Feng to be the killer? Spirit reader? Said Candace in shock. Aunt, you suspect Luo Feng is the killer? Of course Candace knew about the astronomical bounty. If he's a spirit reader then he's pretty much the killer, nodded Vanina. The possibility of him being a spirit reader isn't high, frowned Candace. But Aunt, don't worry, I'll keep an eye on him. The first 28 days of April were extremely competitive, but the rankings were already set. The last 2 days of April were the 29th and 30th. The students were quite relaxed. 29th, 8 a.m., in a small training hall on the second floor of the 9 grand floors. Senior. After Luo Feng entered the training hall, he greeted the other 3 students who were already there. Soon 2 more students arrived. A total of 6 people. 4 of them were Chinese and 2 of them were white. And among these 6 students, 3 of them were women, which took up half of the group. With the ratio of men to women in the training camp, the ratio of girls in Luo Feng's group of 6 is quite ridiculous. Luo Feng, you actually made it to rank 68, awesome. A tall and sturdy Chinese youth laughed and gave him a thumbs up, just one word, awesome. Junior brother. A white girl with long brown hair smiled as she looked at Luo Feng and spoke fluent Mandarin. In the entire training camp, a lot of people were talking about you in the cafeteria this morning. In the past, I couldn't tell that junior brother was so powerful. I want to learn from you, junior brother. Shall we practice the saber together this afternoon? Janet, you like Luo Feng? Another white girl laughed. Luo Feng, Janet's on a date with you, don't miss the chance. Yes, so what? Janet raised his eyebrows. Oh. Haha, junior Luo Feng, aren't you going to grab your chance? There were very few female trainees in the training camp, and the male trainees were very willing to marry the female trainees. After all, to be able to enter the elite training camp, one would definitely become a war god in the future. If a war god and a war god got married, their children would have a bright future. Luo Feng was speechless. Western girls were indeed bolder than Eastern girls. Teacher Jiang Feng currently had a total of 6 disciples. Because Jiang Feng was a Chinese, she usually accepted Chinese as her disciples. Occasionally she would also accept disciples from other countries and base cities. However, those countries usually only accepted females. Teacher Jiang Feng, who was wearing a purple dojo uniform, smiled as she walked in. Today is the 29th and all 6 of you are here. Luo Feng, not bad yesterday. The saber technique class ended at 10:30 p.m. Everyone left one by one. Luo Feng, wait a bit, said Jiang Feng. The other 5 students all left, leaving only Luo Feng and Jiang Feng in the training hall. Teacher Luo Feng looked at Jiang Feng with a confused expression. Jiang Feng smiled as she looked at Luo Feng, her eyes squinting. For a teacher to have such a good disciple is a happy thing. Jiang Feng said lightly, Luo Feng, you were able to charge to rank 68 in the first month, and you're only 19 years old. And you came from a poor background so you don't have any special resources. I can imagine that all the countries and organizations in the world will extend their olive branches to you. Yeah, Luo Feng nodded. However, I have to remind you of something, said Jiang Feng. Please tell me. Luo Feng was curious. What would Jiang Feng remind him of? Jiang Feng said, This elite training camp was created by the Dojo of Limits. Even though the Dojo of Limits has an agreement with the countries and the HR Alliance to fight for talent fairly. However, for a talent like you, the Dojo of Limits definitely won't let you enter other organizations easily. And I'm also warning you not to accept other organizations. It's best if you join the Dojo of Limits. Even though Luo Feng was originally a member of the Dojo of Limits, it doesn't mean that you have to stay in the Dojo of Limits for your entire life. For example, after entering the elite training camp, you have the right to accept invitations from other organizations. Why? Asked Luo Feng. Because the conditions the Dojo of Limits gives you are the best, smiled Jiang Feng. The best. Luo Feng was curious. Usually, only organizations that don't have a strong enough background will try to offer better treatment to keep people. The Dojo of Limits treatment will be the best? Of course. Jiang Feng nodded. Because our head is the world's strongest fighter, the head will always get the most of the archaeological ruins, special treasures, etc. For example, dragon blood. The only person in the world who openly sells dragon blood and supplies it is our head. Luo Feng blinked twice. From what Jiang Feng said. The head, Hong, is the richest person in the world. Just you wait, the higher-ups will probably summon you in 1 or 2 days, said Jiang Feng. Virtual space. In a large conference room. The floor of the conference room was silver, the walls were silver, and even the gigantic round table was silver. Only the 6 chairs were pure black as if they could swallow everything. And at this time, on the 6 chairs surrounding the silver round table, 5 of the chairs had 5 people in white robes sitting on them. The ceiling of the conference room was an endless starry sky, as if there was no end. 5 people in white robes, 3 Chinese, 1 white and 1 black. Everyone, this is Luo Feng's information. His Tower of Trials level is 2.9, and his Fish Strength level is 2.8. In other words, his Battle Ability Amplifier is 8.12, which is considered excellent, said one of the Chinese people in white robes. 1 to 2 is beginner. 2 to 4 is intermediate and 4 to 8 is advanced. 8 to 16 is excellent, and Luo Feng just so happens to be in the ranks of excellent. A black man in white robes nodded. His battle points from hunting monsters are the same as the third-year students of the training camp. His Battle Ability Amplifier is excellent. Even though he just entered excellent, it's the same level as the fourth-year students. Combining the two, he's ranked 68. Investigator Wang, I agree to summon Luo Feng, but the treatment you're giving. Vladimir, I don't think the treatment I'm giving him is high enough. The 5 people in white robes were discussing. If some of the war gods in the Dojo of Limits saw this, they would definitely be extremely excited. Because this is the legendary highest meeting of the Dojo of Limits, the Round Table Conference. Only 6 people have the right to participate in the Round Table Conference. Head, Hong, and the 5 main investigators. The 5 main investigators are all existences that surpass the war god level. The head and the 5 main investigators are the highest level of the Dojo of Limits. Any one of them is enough to make a country fearful. And the Round Table Conference is usually held by the 5 main investigators. The head himself rarely interferes. Because the 5 main investigators are scattered all over the world, the Round Table Conference is held in virtual space. Naturally, the other war gods have only heard of the Round Table Conference, but have never seen it. 5 inspectors. An electronic voice rang out. Silence. The 5 investigators raised their heads and looked towards the sky. 5 documents floated down from the sky above the conference room and landed in front of the 5 investigators. The electronic voice continued, "This is the head's decision on how to deal with Luo Feng. If you have any objections, you can report it to the head. If not, please carry out this decision." "Any objections?" said the electronic voice. No, 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 no. The 5 investigators flipped through the documents and swiftly responded. "Then Investigator Wang, please carry it out immediately," said the electronic voice. The last day of April morning. The spring rain was falling outside and it was a bit cold. Hongning Headquarter City, in a quiet old-style villa in the elite training camp. Jiang Feng, who was wearing a white bra, was sitting cross-legged in the training hall. She was taking deep and slow breaths. As she breathed, Jiang Feng's skin started to sweat and the skin on her entire body was slightly red. Suddenly, the melodious sound of a flute rang and Jiang Feng opened her eyes. Who's calling at this time? Jiang Feng stood up in confusion and walked barefooted towards the cell phone in the corner of the training hall. She looked at the name displayed on the cell phone. Jiang Feng's expression changed and her attitude immediately became more serious. "Investigator Wang. Jiang Feng, go notify your disciple Luo Feng and bring him to me," a slightly hoarse voice carried from the phone. "Yes." Jiang Feng immediately responded. After hanging up, Jiang Feng let out a smile. "So the higher-ups are looking for Luo Feng." "That's right, the training camp hasn't had a student charge into the top 108 years, and Luo Feng's number 68, the higher-up summon was within her expectations." After that, Jiang Feng dialed Luo Feng's number. Beep, beep, beep. The busy tone sounded. Why isn't he picking up? Jiang Feng slightly frowned and hung up. She changed her clothes and personally walked towards Luo Feng's place. Jiangnan Pagoda, in the underground room of Luo Feng's pagoda. Luo Feng, who was barefooted and wearing long pants, was completely covered in sweat. His hair was also completely wet. Hack. In this 5-meter long and 5-meter wide underground room, Luo Feng's feet moved and he advanced like lightning. At the same time his right hand chopped vertically. Chi, the sound of paper tearing appeared in the air, followed by an explosion. And Luo Feng took advantage of the momentum of his right hand's downward chop. Lift. Luo Feng's spiritual force could clearly feel that the air under this chop was split apart like water, and it created a powerful explosion. His hand was like a real blade, every chop surpassed the speed of sound. In this alloy room, Luo Feng's silhouette was sometimes blurry and sometimes solid. Every time he moved his speed was terrifying. And Luo Feng's hand blade was completely like a real blade as it attacked the air. Attack after attack, every time it exploded with 2.8 times his normal strength. After punching 1,000 times, his movements became natural. This was something that Jiang Feng once said. Jiang Feng once said that no matter if it was saber skills, body movements, or other things, only through repeated practice would there be progress. If he just sat there and daydreamed, it would be useless no matter how much he thought. You want to improve your movement technique? Practice. You want to improve your saber skills? Do you want your punches to be stronger? It was a long period of tempering, coupled with the ability to use one's brain and the ability to comprehend. This was the only way to improve. Jiang Feng arrived at Jiangnan Pagoda wearing loose, black silk training clothes and holding an umbrella. Luo Feng, yelled Jiang Feng as she arrived at the courtyard of Jiangnan Pagoda. From the second floor of another pagoda, a girl jumped down with an umbrella. It was Zhao Ruo. Zhao Ruo giggled, "Teacher Jiang Feng, you could have just called if you wanted to find Luo Feng. Why did you have to personally come?" Whoosh. In Luo Feng's pagoda, a shadow dashed into the first floor and then dashed upstairs. "Teacher, I'll be down in a bit." Zhao Ruo and Jiang Feng froze. They were both powerful fighters, so how good of an eye do they have? Of course they saw that Luo Feng was barefoot and only wearing long pants. "Junior sure works hard, he's covered in sweat," praised Zhao Ruo. "But his body isn't bad either, don't you think so, teacher?" "You little girl," Jiang Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She was actually teased by this Zhao Ruo. Zhao Ruo made a face and giggled. "Where's Shi Jiang not here?" asked Jiang Feng. "Senior Shi Jiang went to the 9 grand floors early in the morning. He's different from us. He spends a lot of time in the training room and the archaeological gravity room." Zhao Ruo shook her head and pretended to sigh. "How pitiful. In 1 or 2 years Luo Feng will probably charge into the top 10. Compared to those two, I'm so embarrassed." Jiang Feng laughed. "You little girl, if you want to improve, you need to put in more effort." At this time Luo Feng, who was wearing casual clothes, rushed downstairs with an umbrella in his hand. "Teacher. Follow me," said Jiang Feng. Luo Feng obediently held the umbrella and followed beside Jiang Feng as they left Jiangnan Pagoda. Walking in the training camp that was covered by the misty rain gave off a different feeling. Jiang Feng glanced at Luo Feng and laughed. "Luo Feng, Investigator Wang wants to see you." "Investigator?" Luo Feng was shocked. "Investigator, that's the highest and most important person in the Dojo of Limits. Legend has it that the head and the 5 investigators are the ones in charge of the Dojo of Limits. And the head's position is extremely high. He's the strongest fighter in the world, so he doesn't interfere with most things. The decisions are made by the 5 investigators. Didn't I say last time that the higher-ups will summon you?" laughed Jiang Feng. "Teacher, what should I pay attention to when I meet the investigator?" Luo Feng was a bit nervous. He's an investigator after all. One of the existences that stand at the peak of humanity. He has unparalleled strength. In the past, Luo Feng only saw an existence that surpasses the war god level called Zhu Shi from afar at that war god named Lu Gang's memorial ceremony. At that time, all the important figures in the military, government, and war gods were very respectful and obediently went to receive him. "Don't worry, you're not going to ask for help. Our dojo is summoning you," said Jiang Feng lightly, "so don't be reserved. I believe that Investigator Wang won't smile when he sees you, but at least he won't act like an investigator. You just need to pay attention to your attitude and not be arrogant. Just treat him like a teacher or an elder," said Jiang Feng. Oh, Luo Feng nodded. Following Jiang Feng, Luo Feng quickly found a seemingly normal villa in the war god teacher's area of the training camp. This villa had the style of an ancient Chinese Tang dynasty villa. Compared to the other war god teacher's villas, the only thing special about this villa was that it took up a bit more space. "Teacher Jiang Feng, the grand investigator is waiting for you and student Luo Feng inside," smiled an old housekeeper at the entrance of the villa. They entered the villa. Luo Feng immediately saw that there were 3 women chatting and laughing in the lobby of the first floor of the villa. "Oh, it's little Jiang." One of the women, who maintained herself well and looked like a noble lady, smiled. "Old Wang is in the guest room upstairs." Old Wang just said, "Let that kid named Luo Feng go up. Little Jiang, come over and chat with us. How about we play mahjong later?" "That's right, little Jiang. Don't just cultivate all the time," another woman said. Most of the women in the training camp were the war god teachers' families. "You can go up," said Jiang Feng. "Okay." Luo Feng walked up the stairs by himself. When he arrived at the second floor, he could already smell the faint yet soothing aroma of tea. Following the aroma, Luo Feng easily arrived at the door of the guest room. The door was open. "Come in," a slightly hoarse voice rang. Luo Feng walked into the guest room. The first person he saw was the only other person in the guest room, a skinny man who was sitting cross-legged. He had a mustache and looked like he was around 40 years old. From his face, one could tell that he was quite handsome when he was young. Right now, the skinny man had his eyes closed and was playing with his prayer beads. A cup of tea was placed on the table in front of him. Grand Investigator Luo Feng slightly bowed. The skinny man slightly opened his eyes. Being stared at by him, Luo Feng felt like he was separated from the world. This guest room was like an independent space, and this skinny man was like the spirit of this guest room. This formless pressure made Luo Feng hold his breath. Sit. The skinny man pointed at the other side of the table. There weren't any chairs in this guest room, so how do I sit? Luo Feng could only learn from this investigator Wang and sat cross-legged on the floor. Take a close look at the contract in front of you. If there are no problems, then sign it, said Investigator Wang calmly. After that, he closed his eyes and played with his prayer beads. There was indeed a contract on the table. There were a total of 5 rewards and each one of them was quite tempting. However, the requirements were quite high. A battle ability amplifier of 12? Luo Feng sighed to himself. If I can reach a battle ability amplifier of 12, I'll definitely be in the top 20. After reading the student instructions and chatting with Shijiang, Zhao Ruo, and a few other old students, Luo Feng was clear about the difficulty and meaning of the battle ability amplifier. 1 to 2 is beginner. 4 to 8 is advanced and 8 to 16 is excellent. You can say that sometimes, no student in the entire training camp has a battle ability amplifier of 16 in the entire 5 years. In other words, a battle ability amplifier of 14, 15 is enough to charge into the top 5 of the training camp. Those who reach 13 are usually in the top 10. Those who reach 12 are usually in the top 20. This is a rough estimate. The rewards on the list are shocking, but the conditions are also harsh. This third condition will allow me to reach a battle ability amplifier of 16 by January 1, 2060. With all these rewards, if you count them in terms of money, it would be an unbelievably high price. Even existences surpassing the war god level wouldn't be willing to spend money to buy this. However, this condition will allow me to reach a battle ability amplifier of 16 in 3 years. Luo Feng felt the pressure. As of now, it's hard to say if there's even one student in the entire training camp who has a battle ability amplifier of 16. However, in the history of the training camp, there have been students who have a battle ability amplifier of over 16 upon graduation. These 5 conditions, the 2 closest to me, both require a battle ability amplifier of 12. The earlier I reach it, the higher the reward. If I reach it before August 1st, the reward will be extremely shocking. If I reach it this year, the reward will be a bit lower. If I reach it next year or the year after, there won't be any reward at all. Are you done reading? A hoarse voice rang. On the other side of the table, Investigator Wang looked at Luo Feng. I'm done, nodded Luo Feng. Do you have any objections? Said Investigator Wang calmly. Luo Feng respectfully said, Mr. Investigator, I want to ask. For the last 5 rewards, can treasures of the same value be exchanged for the water of life, which is worth 30 billion? His brother Luo Hua relied on the elixir of life to grow his legs back, and he doesn't even know when the elixir of life will be auctioned. He might as well get it from the dojo of limits. It can't be changed. Inspector Wang shook his head slightly. Nothing in this contract can be changed. None of them can be changed? Luo Feng was shocked. They didn't have to be this overbearing when negotiating a contract. Plus, the dojo of limits invited him and it was an investigator. Clearly, the dojo of limits' attitude was very sincere. Student Luo Feng, this contract was personally drafted by the head, so other than the head, no one else has the right to change it, said Investigator Wang. Master? Oh. Luo Feng was shocked. Just like Luo Feng's generation, they grew up listening to Hong's legends. He was the world's strongest expert, the world's richest man, the absolute number one. This contract was actually drafted by Hong himself. It was no wonder that the inspector did not dare to change it. Do you really want the water of life? Inspector Wang observed the young man in front of him. Yes. Luo Feng nodded. That's not difficult. According to the usual practice, there should be an auction for the water of life in the second half of this year. When the time comes, you can participate in the auction. Investigator Wang said as he fiddled with the prayer beads. His voice was hoarse and he spoke slowly. Talking to him made people unknowingly fall into a zen atmosphere. The second half of this year? Luo Feng couldn't help but to be surprised. Patrolling Inspector Wang said calmly, this water of life isn't some rare item to begin with. If it wasn't for the American military purposely trying to squeeze money out of other organizations and people, there would be no need to auction it at all. In front of Luo Feng, Investigator Wang didn't even bother to hide this secret. It's not rare? Luo Feng was shocked. Isn't it only possible to use an existence surpassing the Horde leader level, the essence of an emperor-level monster, Earth Dragon King, as the main ingredient, along with... Who did you hear this from? Investigator Wang calmly asked back. The internet. Luo Feng froze. Investigator Wang raised the teacup in front of him and lightly took a sip as he said, how can such a secret be made public? The internet is just a rumor that the American government intentionally spread in order to raise the price and make everyone think how rare and precious this thing is. Rumor? Luo Feng slightly frowned. Remember, Investigator Wang looked at Luo Feng. The treasures that normal fighters can find out about on the internet are all renewable. Almost all of them were renewable and all of them had a price tag. Even if they intentionally auction it, they won't be able to sell it for such a terrifying price. Renewable? Luo Feng's heart skipped a beat. Inspector Wang nodded slightly. Being able to be regenerated means that this kind of treasure can be created again as long as money is invested. For example, the water of life is actually a medical device from an archaeological ruin that the American government obtained. After investing large amounts of energy and materials, they can create a type of medicine. Luo Feng froze. So it's a medical device from the archaeological ruin that can create medicine. As long as you invest a large amount of money, you can create a medicine. You're saying that this medicine can be sold for an astronomical price? Investigator Wang laughed lightly. For example, dragon blood that's worth 80 billion. Do you really think it's really the heart blood of an emperor-level monster, dragon? Right now in the entire world, there aren't more than 10 emperor-level monsters on Earth. However, in the Dojo of Limits, dragon blood is sold at a clear price. As long as you have money, the Dojo of Limits can sell it to you, said Investigator Wang. Even if you want to buy 10 portions, we can sell it to you. You're saying there aren't even 10 dragons on Earth, so where does this dragon blood come from? Yeah. Even if you kill all the dragons, you won't be able to make 10 portions of dragon blood. However, the Dojo of Limits can sell it at a clear price. This dragon blood is indeed dragon blood. Using the heart blood of an emperor-level monster, dragon, to make a portion of dragon blood. Compared to the dragon blood provided by our dojo, the effects might even be better, said Investigator Wang. However, only the head can make dragon blood. This isn't a secret. Luo Feng nodded and understood. Even though these things that can be sold at a clear price are precious, they can be created again. As long as you invest money, you can create it again. A true treasure, such as a unique treasure that can't be created again, is an astronomical price. That's a sky-high price. Inspector Wang said, but you can't see that kind of treasure on the internet, because they aren't publicly sold or auctioned. For example, there are around 10 types of treasures that can strengthen one's body. Only dragon blood can be sold at a clear price. As for the other 10 types, even though they can't be created again, their effects aren't even as good as dragon blood. And some of them have even better effects than dragon blood. Dragon blood can double a person's strength. And some treasures can increase a person's strength by 3 to 4 times, or even 10 times. Sadly, these treasures were consumed by someone 20 years ago. They're all gone in this world now. Luo Feng was shocked as he listened. So, these treasures are also divided into renewable and non-renewable. Truly rare treasures are unique in this world and won't be sold publicly. Existences like Hong and Thunder God don't lack money at all. Whether it's with their fists or money, they've already gotten their hands on them. How could they let these treasures be sold publicly? No wonder the Dojo of Limits rewards are so good. Dragon blood belongs to the dojo itself. Secret manual? Although it seemed like a sky-high price, it was actually the dojo itself that was selling it. The dojo only needs to pay for the combat uniforms. Even though Luo Feng understood, he also knew that the rewards were still very high. Creating dragon blood definitely wasn't done out of thin air, it definitely required investment. Materials were also needed for combat suits, and the cost alone was quite shocking. This contract cannot be changed. Are you willing to sign it now? Inspector Wang showed a rare smile. Yes. Luo Feng nodded and immediately signed the contract. Sign this one. Inspector Wang handed over another copy of the contract that looked exactly the same. You keep one copy and my dojo keeps the other. After signing the contract, Luo Feng became a core member of the dojo. His annual budget was 5 billion. And now the first target was, he would strive to increase his combat ability amplifier to 12 by August 1st. If I succeed, I will be able to obtain a portion of dragon blood. Dragon blood can multiply a person's strength and increase his training speed. The most important thing for Luo Feng right now is to increase his fitness level. The stronger his fitness level, the stronger his spiritual force. Becoming an advanced level war god level spirit reader is Luo Feng's goal. Dragon blood could speed up the process even more. April 30th, evening, first floor of the cafeteria of the training camp. Students of all skin colors were divided into groups as they sat around and ate dinner. Luo Feng, you seem to be in a good mood, laughed Zhao Rua. It's alright, grinned Luo Feng. Signing the contract was one thing, but the other was that he knew that the elixir of life was a renewable resource. Since that's the case, he won't have to worry about not being able to buy it with money. Dear students, dear students. Suddenly, a deep voice echoed around the entire cafeteria. All the students raised their heads and saw a Chinese war god teacher with a face full of excitement as he said loudly, "Let me tell everyone a piece of good news. Before everyone's life and death adventure, this year, which is August 1st, our head of the Dojo of Limits, the strongest fighter in the world, Hong, will personally come to the training camp." What? OMG. It's Hong Hong. The entire cafeteria erupted. All the students from all over the world started shouting in surprise. Their faces were filled with joy. Hong. On the current Earth, he's a godlike existence. No matter which country, which region, whether it's a fighter or a normal person, they all know one name, Hong. They all know that the strongest fighter in the world is Hong. Hong. God. Some of the African Americans even danced excitedly on the spot. All the students stood up and discussed spiritedly. Holy, it's rare to see Hong in person even in the elite training camp. Usually Hong only comes to the training camp once every few years. Who would have thought that Hong would come this summer? Luo Feng, it's Hong. Zhao Rua pulled Luo Feng and started jumping excitedly. It's been 3 years since I've been here and I've never seen Hong. Yup, Luo Feng was also excited. He had to see this world's strongest fighter with his own eyes. August 1st, before the life and death adventure? Luo Feng was also excited. Yup, I'll work hard to raise my battle ability amplifier to 12 before then. There's still 3 months. Today was April 30th. There were still 3 months left until August 1st. And if Luo Feng wants to obtain dragon blood, he can't relax at all in these 3 months. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and turn on the notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming great videos.